Welcome back to the CNN Democratic Presidential Town Hall at the Derry Opera House in New Hampshire. Thanks very much for being with us. You heard from Senator Bernie Sanders. Please welcome former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
You've obviously had pretty incredible past couple of days. Congratulations on winning in Iowa. New Hampshire has always been good to the Clintons. How does it feel out there?
It feels great. I've had just an amazing time. We landed in the middle of the night from Iowa, still pretty pumped up about winning there, and then got to work the next day. And I'm seeing a lot of old friends, meeting a lot of new people. I have an uphill climb, and I'm going to climb as high and hard as I can because I want to make my case to the people of New Hampshire. As you said, they're people that I feel very close to. They've been good to my husband, to me, my family. But what's most important is the First in the Nation primary. It truly is a great opportunity to get out there, explain what you want to do as president, present your ideas, and get vetted by the people of New Hampshire.
Bernie Sanders just a short time ago said he is the underdog here. Your campaign has said, he comes from neighboring Vermont. Yeah. You guys are down in the polls. Do you feel you do better when you're fighting from behind?
I don't know.
Does it bring out something in you?
Well, the intensity of the experience and the importance of trying to convey what's at stake in this election, because to me, obviously, Tuesday is a really big deal with the primary, but the goal has to be to prevent the Republicans from getting back into the White House and undoing all the progress that has been made under President Obama. And so I'm very proud of the campaign that Senator Sanders and I are running. I mean, we really have focused on issues. We share a lot of the same big progressive goals, but we have different ways of going about them. We bring different experiences. But we are contrasting on issues compared to the Republicans, who I think are contrasting on insults. And I think it's a better contest where we can take our ideas to groups like this throughout New Hampshire, get questions, have people vet them, and then let the voters make up their minds.
You talked about progressive values. Earlier in the day, Senator Sanders was asked if you were progressive. He said, some days. Are you really a progressive? In the past, you have said you plead guilty to being a moderate.
Well, you asked me this question in the first debate, right?
And it coming up at the end today.
And I said that I'm a progressive who likes to get things done. And I was somewhat amused today that Senator Sanders has set himself up to be the gatekeeper on who's a progressive, because under the definition that was flying around on Twitter and statements by the campaign, Barack Obama would not be a progressive, Joe Biden would not be a progressive, Jeanne Shaheen would not be a progressive, even the late, great Senator Paul Wellstone would not be a progressive. So I'm not going to let that bother me. I know where I stand. I know who stands with me. I know what I've done. But I don't think it helps for the senator to be making those kinds of comparisons, because clearly we all share a lot of the same hopes and aspirations for our country that we want to see achieved. And I don't think it's appropriate that, if Planned Parenthood endorses me or the Human Rights Campaign endorses me, they're thrown out of the progressive wing and put into the establishment. That's just not anything we need to do. Let's have a good contest of ideas. Let's contrast where we stand, and that's what I intend to do for the next couple of days.
It would obviously be historic if you were elected president, first female.
You think so?
Obviously. I studied a little bit about history. But it seems like young women aren't rallying to this potentially historic moment. And I say this in Iowa. Among women under 30, Senator Sanders beat you by 70 points. Why do you think that is? That's amazing.
Yeah. Look, I was very fortunate to have a great team of young people, men and women, supporting me. But I accept the fact that I have work to do to convey what I stand for, what I've accomplished, what I want to do for young people in our country.
Why do you think it is that they're...
Well, I don't really know, Anderson. I think, here's what I want young people to know. They don't have to be for me. I'm going to be for them. It doesn't really matter if they... If they are not supporting me, I will be their president. I will do everything I can to give them the opportunities they deserve. As I speak with young people across the country in Iowa, New Hampshire, and elsewhere, I do sense this real feeling of being somehow disadvantaged, put on the wrong side of American opportunity. And I understand that. I mean, the student debt problems, the feeling that the jobs that are out there are not producing the kind of income or opportunity that young people believe they should be able to get. But at the same time, I'm so impressed by the level, the intensity of commitment of this generation to, really going after discrimination, going after racism and sexism and the kind of abuses that LGBT community members have, looking for ways to bring more justice in the economy and the environment, fighting climate change. So I'm impressed with them, and I'm going to do everything I can to reach out and to explain why good ideas on paper are important, but you've got to be able to translate them into action to get results for people. I have a lot of experience doing that. I think I can deliver positive change for young people in our country, and I hope to have the chance to win their support.
What's wrong with a revolution?
Well, that's for Senator Sanders to explain, because that certainly is the core of his message to young people. I have a different take on it. I think the progress that we have made, and particularly the Democratic Party has made, has been hard fought for, hard won, and must be defended. So I want to defend the Affordable Care Act. It is one of the great accomplishments, not only of this president, but of the Democratic Party going back to Harry Truman. The Republicans are, the Republicans are determined to repeal it, and they've tried 62 times. Just to turn it back to the insurance companies. Senator Sanders and I share the same goal. We want to get to universal health care coverage. Before it was called Obamacare, it was called Hillary Care, as you remember. I fought really hard. The insurance companies and the drug companies spent millions against me. I know what it's like to go up against the status quo and special interests. So when President Obama succeeded, I was thrilled. I don't agree with Senator Sanders that we should start over, that we should throw our country into a contentious national debate about health care again. We're at 90% coverage. I'm going to fix what needs to be fixed. We're going to move from 90 to 100, which is a lot easier to get to than starting at 0 to get to 100. So we have a difference, and I think that is important.
I want you to meet some of the folks in our audience.
Sure.
This is Dave Scannell. He's a high school English teacher from Manchester. He says he's undecided. David?
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Secretary Clinton. You, the next president, will have as many as 3 Supreme Court appointments to make.
Right.
I'm wondering, beyond abortion, are there any issues on which you would impose or assert a litmus test? And if your answer is no, aren't certain critical issues like marriage equality, campaign finance, just so vital to what we believe in as Democrats that you would have to know the answer as to how these justices would rule before you make the nomination?
Well, I'll tell you what, Dave, I do have a litmus test. I have a bunch of litmus tests because I agree with you. The next president could get as many as 3 appointments. One of the many reasons why we can't turn the White House over to the Republicans again is because of the Supreme Court. I'm looking for people who understand the way the real world works, who don't have a knee-jerk reaction to support business, to support the idea that, money is speech, that gutted the Voting Rights Act. I voted for the reauthorization of the Voting Rights Act when I was in the Senate. It passed 98-0 based on a very extensive set of hearings and research. Supreme Court comes along, they substitute their judgment for the Congress, signed by George W. Bush. That is one of our problems. They have a view that I just fundamentally disagree with about what the way we have to keep the balance of power in our society is. So they have given way too much power to corporations. They have given Citizens United the biggest gift to the Koch brothers, Karl Rove, and all of those folks whose values I don't share. and who are doing everything they can to try to turn the clock back. We have to preserve marriage equality. We have to go further to end discrimination against the LGBT community. We've got to make sure to preserve Roe v. Wade, not let it be nibbled away or repealed. We've got work to do, and here's how I think about it, because when I was a senator, I had to vote on Supreme Court justices. I'm looking for people who are rooted in the real world, who know that part of the genius of our system, both economic and government, is this balance of power. If it gets too far out of whack so that business has too much power, any branch of the government has too much power, the delicate balance that makes up our political system and the broad-based prosperity we should be working for in our economy is the worst off for it. So I have very strong feelings about what I'll be looking for if I am given the honor of appointing somebody to the Supreme Court.